Talking about new frontiers in Nigeria politics, I looked at it and said, there is nothing new about Nigerian politics, honestly. There are no new frontiers. It's the same old criminal frontier of politicking that has been going on in Nigeria. But what prompted me to come is that young lawyers like you can relinquish the conservative nature of law and start to practice revolutionary law that will save not this country but your own future. Because as you can tell, the elders of this nation or country, I won't call it a nation because Nigeria never became a nation. It was created as a business around here in the Niger Delta region, and it remains a business till tomorrow for those for whom the business was created. And so Nigeria do not have leaders or elders who are willing for us to have new frontiers. And it behoves on you to create new frontiers you want to see. In 2018, as our brother was saying, I was a candidate in the election. And one of the questions I was peppered with everywhere I went to a town hall meeting, and I did 34 of those across Nigeria. They were asking me about experience. Experience. We don't think you're experienced enough. I asked them, what experience do you want from me? Experience of stealing, killing, destruction of a country. If that's what you're looking for, you can't get it from me. But the most important thing about experience is this. If the persons who ran for office in 2019 are older than Nigeria, how do you expect the younger ones to get experience? The people who are running in 2023 are older than Nigeria. And I'm not talking about our former judge here. I'm talking about the regular people whose age you can never define or tell. Because I'm sure we know your age, sir. But the APC candidate's age, they are still looking for it. That of PDP, they are still looking for their age. Because they have no documentation whatsoever to show how old they are. They said Tinubu is around 100 and something years old. If you say that, I won't disagree with you. Because I've never met somebody who said they went to primary school with him or secondary school. There's a process or period where he went to university in Chicago. But you cannot go to Chicago from university without primary and secondary school. And as long as that is happening, there's no way for you to get experience. Because the people that brought about independence in Nigeria, they were in their 20s. In fact, the man who proposed for Nigeria to have independence, Anthony Nahoro, was in his 20s when they started. Obafemi Awolowo was in probably 30s when they started. Azikwe Nnamdi in their 30s and 40s. In 2022, the so-called frontline candidates are in their hundreds. Probably the two of them will be between 80 and 100, just estimation. So how do you expect young people like you to get experience? And the truth is that the students of these days are younger and getting younger and younger. But the leaders of these days are getting older and older. I have no problem with old people, but I have a problem with old ideas. Because that is what is holding Nigeria to ransom. That is what is holding Nigeria to ransom today. And talking about law, you guys saw how law can help resolve certain problems in a country. But in Nigeria, our laws have been the reason why the country failed. It's not because we don't have laws, but it's because we do not execute the laws in a way that is not. And I'm standing in front of you as a person who has been through a lot of legal problems, particularly in the last 4 years. And I want to urge those of you who are looking for work to sign up to be my lawyer, because I'm going to get into more troubles, legally speaking, in the nearest future. So, because I was hearing the speakers here talking about law is a business, law should be a profession that brings about impact. And I have said it that if law is practiced as a legal instrument for oppression, it can never bring about justice. So you can pass through a process of law or legalities or technicalities, as you guys love to call it. But as long as law does not target justice, society cannot progress. Look at the most trending topic we're talking about now. It was a document obtained from Chicago about the drug history of one of our candidates, certified by a court clerk. That same document I obtained since 2008 and published on Sahara Reporters, where I've operated before I became an accidental politician. I will say to you that if that case were to be in Nigeria, that document would have disappeared a long time ago, completely. If the document doesn't disappear, the clerk, the judge, everybody will disappear with it. No, I'm serious, because there was also a period when a former governor of Delta State, James Ibori, was accused of having stolen some things in the past. And in this country, before our very eyes, the lawyer denied trying him after they met. The judicial system in Nigeria changed his name. They changed the witness, and the document completely disappeared. But look at how we went to Chicago and were able to get a copy of a document, which is a civil forfeiture that led to Tinubu losing $460,000 to the US government. For doing what? For carrying drugs. Nobody should deceive you otherwise. He was dealing in drugs. He was taking drugs. And they found his money and took the money from him. If it was recent, he would have gone to jail for a long period of time. And by the way, most of our leaders are people who ought to be in prison, worried that our legal systems were working for crimes that they committed against the people of Nigeria. So, in essence, what I want to say is that our political realities today in Nigeria is clearly defined by our legal system. Because had the legal system been working in the interest of justice, there would have been clearance for a lot of you to have made progress in your lives. Where the legal system designed for justice, judges will not force lecturers to go back to school instead of forcing the government to fund education. Because regardless of the temporary relief you get from these judgments and orders, education cannot be funded by a court judgment, except it is directed at the right people. The argument that somehow government cannot fund education is superfluous, reckless, and unjust. Because why? Government can fund the Accountant General of Nigeria to take home $150 billion, spends a week in detention. I don't even know if you ever tasted this detention, and is out. I know it was made possible by you lawyers, but what will be your excuse? You're doing your job, and that's the truth. Governments that can't fund education can give $1 million to Afghanistan, a globally recognized rogue terrorist nation. The Nigerian government that cannot fund your education has got money to buy sports utility vehicles for the government of Niger, where they allege the president came from. I know this is libelous, but that's why I say you should sign up to defend me as lawyers. But this is what I heard. So our leaders are involved in wrong-headed policies. And I'm standing in front of you here today to say that until we eradicate the policy and philosophy that only some set of incompetent, derelict individuals can govern us, we cannot make progress. And by extension, we cannot develop new frontiers politically in this country. And you know it as someone who has been known as a disruptor, that the only thing and the only time that is best to disrupt Nigeria politically is 2023. Do you know why? It is the time in the history of Nigeria that I've seen the highest interest of young people in their political future and progress. But before you start clapping for yourselves, ask if the person you will vote for will be the winner of the election. Before you start clapping for yourself, ask also from the youths if this is not a period of political confusion for the youths as well. A point and a time that, just like our government, you are forced or misdirected to choose candidates that will not fight for your interests. And why I'm saying this is not because I'm selfish or I want to be selfish. I'm saying it because this is supposed to be a turning point, politically speaking, for Nigerians and young people, and for which we are supposed to break new frontiers, a period that your candidates should understand that redesigning the Naira does not solve the value of the Naira problem. As a matter of fact, it's an oxymoron for you to create e-Naira and then turn around to redesign paper Naira. Absolute stupidity. It is unconscionable to go and create blockchain technology, which my brother will talk about today, and then turn around and be printing paper. As if you redesign the Naira, bread will not recognize that 10 Naira is different from 5,000 Naira. A period that we should be talking about re-evaluating or revaluing our currency. I know that there's not enough time today, and I must tell you that I am not in one of the happier moods that I was when I met Dino Melaye last week. I'm not in that mood today. Because the more I wake up, honestly, the more I find myself in different parts of Nigeria, the more I attend these events, the sadder I get, the more depressed I get about the future of Nigeria. Because it seems like Nigerians have gotten to a point where they are completely under the influence of what is known as Stockholm Syndrome. It seems like Nigerians are falling in love with their enemies. They are falling in love with their oppressors. They seem to be comfortable with their traducers. Otherwise, the new frontiers of politics today will be that we have only two choices to make. Those we can vote for and those we will not and never vote for. But unfortunately, the people we shouldn't be voting for are the ones that we call frontliners in our political race today. Let me say one last thing, and I'll repeat it again, that people should be looking beyond the 2023 elections, because as it stands, it's not looking good that it will deliver the wishes and aspirations of our people. But I'm participating in it, if not for anything, to show the underbelly of the reason why we might need to look beyond elections. Young people, however, should be thinking about a future for Nigeria that is completely revolutionary. I'm afraid that only revolution can solve Nigeria's problem. And it will either be delivered through the ballot if they let it happen, or it will be delivered on the street. Don't forget that songs of Bob Marley, which was played to me yesterday at the radio station here in Port Harcourt, and it's called the Redemption Song. It says, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, none but ourselves carefree our own mind. Have no fear for us to make energy, because none of them can stop the time. For how long shall they kill our prophets? Why we stand aside and look? Woo! Some say it's just part of it. We got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing the songs of freedom? All I ever had, redemption song. Thank you so much for bringing me. Thank you. Thank you.